with all that's transpiring and unfolding in front of your eyes and my eyes in Ukraine, something flashed in my mind, and it was this story from life of Nelson Mandela, which I've profiled in my book, Inner Mastery, Outer Impact. It's coming out soon. And here's what the story is, and here's how I link it to the powerful events being unfolded in Ukraine. So Mandela was at that time trying to transition South Africa to peaceful democratic rule. And the South African government at that time, the Afrikaans, were basically capitulating to the idea that they were going to have to give up power to what presumably was going to be black democratic rule. But there were some of them who were like holdouts who just didn't want to accept that idea at all. And one of them was Colonel Constant Viljoen. And this colonel was, from the General Constant Viljoen. He was from the army, and he had this well-trained, group that he was threatening to kind of pull out from the army and make it into a militia. And they were going to fight against the official democratic government, because they really wanted to protect their own interests and keep a space for just, white rule. And Mandela invites him over for tea, and he pours tea for the general, and he listens to the general. And the general is really aggressive and threatening Mandela to say, look, we are so well trained and we have all these armaments that you don't, and we're going to really defeat you. We're going to create a lot of bloodshed here for you. And Mandela listens to him and he says, yes, general, you are right. You have all that armament. And yes, you're right. You have all that training we don't have. And yes, you're right. You're going to shed a lot of blood. He said, but I also want you to know that on our side, we are so many more people than you have. And all of these people are really committed to fighting now for this new form of government. And in addition, the whole world is looking at what's happening here, at our arena. And the whole world is supporting us, in this whole quest. So what do you think is going to happen here? We are not going to be giving up. You're not going to be giving up. There's going to be a lot of blood being shed on both sides. It's going to be a terrible outcome for us, yes, but it's also going to be a terrible outcome for you. And the General Viljoen, he looked at Mandela and he had to agree, he had to accept, yes, you are right. It's going to be pretty terrible for us too, with all that you've said. And I want to offer that up because it was a stroke of genius really from Mandela, that he wasn't saying look, no, it's not that you'll win and we'll lose. We will win, you will lose. He actually was agreeing with the general and then fusing opposites. And what he was saying is that, look, you will lose and we will lose. And I wanted to offer it up because if you think about what's happening in Ukraine, isn't it the case that the Russian army is so much better equipped, so much, in a sense, perhaps better trained? And from that vantage point, Putin must have thought that this is the moment where we can basically take it over, unleash this terror to basically aggressively conquer that land. And on the other side, what's happening is, though, on the Ukrainian side, they have much bigger numbers. They're 40 million of them. I mean, how many people from the army is, Putin going to be able to send there in one wave or the next? There are 40 million of them. And they're showing deep commitment at a very grassroots level to want to take on this cause, to take on this fight. And the whole world is looking. And this time, in fact, the whole world is literally looking, because through social media, we're proliferating all these videos taken from phones, etc. Well, each of us, our heart goes out, right, to those people who are really seeking to protect, their culture, their freedom, their independence, which is like a birthright for every human being, especially today in this post-colonial age. So all of them are really fighting for it, and the whole world is looking, all of that, right? And I wonder what would have happened if, Zelensky had been able to sit down with Putin, just like Mandela with Colonel Viljoen, and say, yes, Putin, you're right. You're going to be, so much more, masterful in the arena of warfare and all that, but we are not going to give up the fight, and the whole world is watching. I wonder what that would have done. And let us just hope and pray for peaceful resolution in a quick time frame of this really painful episode that I know is burdening your heart just as much as mine.